Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada J. What's up? What's up? Once again, I apologize for being late, and this is actually probably not the review that you're expecting, but you'll know that when you click on it. So I will try to get a haves and have-nots review because I actually didn't even really get to watch the full episode because they ended up. I was coming home from work, y'all. So this is a see what had happened was type of story. I was coming home from work. No, wait a minute. I'm lying because I didn't even work yesterday. That was Monday. I'll tell you that story another time. But my friend decides to call me on the night that she knows is time for my show. And I could have just been like, I'll call you later, but then she'll just act a clown. So, you know how that works. So, yeah, we ended up being on the phone past the show. And it was like 10 something. And I was like, it's going to take a long time to upload, which I'm actually doing it now at like 9 something. So what's the difference, you say? But this is actually not the Haves and Have-Nots review. I will try to get that up. Okay, I will try to get that up because I do have some things about the scenes that I did see. I do want to talk about that. So I will try to get that up. But this is actually going to be my Black Love review, Season 1, Episode 1. And I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I didn't take notes or anything like that because I actually watched it. I watched it some hours ago. Because I was like, here goes another show that I really want to watch. But I'm not going to be able to. Every time I want to watch the show, I'm just like, oh, I have to work that day. So it doesn't. I'm actually going to be having Wednesdays off because I start school. But that's not going to be. No, Tuesday. Yeah, it came on last night. So Tuesdays, I am going to have off because I have school. So that just means I won't have to work. But anyway, I went on like a minute and a half and I'm still not saying anything. So, okay. I'm going to do this a little differently because I didn't take notes. But I did watch the show and I think it is a masterpiece. Okay, I loved it. I even when I watched it, I rewatched it again to be like, was I in kind of just shock that it's a whole show dedicated to Black love, or what is it? Did I really like it? And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So I didn't take notes, so I'm just kind of gonna jump around with it and give you some of the couples and just some of the things that I liked. Okay, so we actually opened up with Tia and Cory Hardrict. Tia and him have been together for 15 years. They've been married for 8 years, and they have a son, I believe, named Cree. Don't quote me on that, but they do have a son. And they were actually talking about their marriage, and I loved it. Yeah, and I love the braids on Tia, because Tia is my sister, but sometimes I'll be seeing her, and I'm like, oh, girl, you got an attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, are you serious? But this was very nice, and they told the story of how they met, and she actually said they were on set filming a movie called Hollywood Horror, and she was like, that's all I'm going to say about that. It was a low-budget film, and she said how they first kind of, noticed each other was she was like, she seen him in these hideous, horrible shoes that were for wardrobe, and she was like, they were like the Birkenstocks. And she was like, she's thinking, who puts a brother in Birkenstocks? And he was like, I wasn't even worried about that. It was a low budget film. They gave me what they gave me. He was like, honestly, I was just happy to be working. So they got in, and on their marriage and talked about how different they are, but like they've made each other better people. So, but I almost want to go into the fact that he was honest to say that when they started, dating, he was not financially stable. He was even saying he was broke as a joke. They told the story of actually when they went to the Cheesecake Factory. And he was like, he didn't even eat that much that night, but he was trying to cover it up like, oh, I ate earlier on or whatever, but he just didn't have that much money. And so he tells the story of, he was like, they were all like, it was Tia, Tamara, and like their friends and like some family. And he's like, he had got this car. He said it was like a Sebring. And he had roses for her in the trunk. But he didn't want to give them to her like in front of everybody because he was like, that's going to be embarrassing. So he called her over. And it was like a bouquet of red roses. And she said that's how she knew he was different. Like, you know what I mean? So it was interesting. It was interesting to hear that because Tia, like I said, like that's her sister, but she seemed like she got a little bit of an attitude. So when he was saying that he was kind of broke, and she was like, yeah, and I knew that, like when we first started dating. And that's actually what stopped him from proposing sooner, is that he said he wanted to be financially stable when he would propose to her. But it didn't actually end up working out like that. But he was like, I love this woman and I can't let her go. And he ended up saving up for a really, really nice ring, and he ended up proposing. And, obviously they're still together to this day. So I love that story. And then it was, there were quite a few couples, so I'm just going to, jump around. But there was also Viola Davis and her husband, Julius. Now, and I'm going to be perfectly honest to say, I knew Viola was married to a brother. But some of these people, like, they had Megan Good on there. I didn't know Megan Good was married to a brother. I didn't know. You just sometimes assume that, okay, she might be. And then you had, he was married to a sister. Or she's a sister. Sean, I can't remember his last name. But he was on The Barber Shop. He took her apple juice and was like, ain't nobody take your apple juice. You know what I'm talking about? The real uppity black guy in that movie. Like, I don't think he's like that in real life, but on the movie, he was. And he's married to a sister, so I was like, oh, okay, like, I just didn't know. So, yeah, anyway. Viola Davis is married to a brother. His name is Julius. And she said in the beginning of their relationship, she was scared because she was acting. She said they actually met in LA. And it was something, I don't know, they were there for like a shoot or something like that. And after the shoot, like, he spots her outside and she's talking to her friends, complaining about LA and just how she doesn't like, it's too much. The driving is crazy. There's so many people. And he actually said at the time that he was kind of feeling Viola. He, he was currently with somebody else, but he was like, the girl that I'm with right now was kind of a monster. So he's like, when he met Viola, it was kind of like, yes, he wanted to talk to somebody. He was, at that point, he said he was ready to meet somebody else. So he actually gave her his card. And I love Viola Davis because anytime when Viola talks, like, you just listen. And I heard somebody else say that, and it's so true. She just has that voice, like her speeches and everything. But this that she's talking about her marriage, and like her husband too. Like, yeah, they're a nice fit. They've been married 13 years, I believe, long time. So yeah, she goes and actually she was surprised. She was like, because most actors when they hand you their card, like they're shirtless, and he was like, I had my shirt on when I gave her my card. And she said in the beginning, she was just really afraid to even call him because she had bad credit. I was like, really, Viola? I'm thinking of something. I mean, that is serious because, you see them movies and stuff. You tell somebody you got bad credit and they act like you told them, you caught something and you might give it, you know what I'm saying? So that's something you want to steer clear from. So I understood that, but I was like, really? So, and then she said everybody was telling her, girl, you got to call him. Like, come on, how are you not going to call him? So she ended up calling him. And then she said on their first date, she was just like, she knew he was a really good guy. She goes, when they left the restaurant, he was like, he dropped off at home. And 20 minutes later, she goes, he called her. And she's like, wait a minute, did you get home already? He's like, no, like, I'm at the restaurant down the street. But I just wanted to tell you that you're a beautiful woman. I had a wonderful time. And she's like, oh, okay, like, thanks. She said, calls her back again 20 minutes later. He was like, I just want to let you know that I actually did get home. And, you're a beautiful woman. I had a wonderful time. She goes, calls her back again because there was like an earthquake that happened at 4 a.m. And he wanted to make sure she was good. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the chivalry, I don't want to say it's dead. But brothers don't really be doing stuff like that no more. I'm not, like, come on now. Because they think it's weak. And I actually want to say that this might have been a couple months back at school. And it was, me and some of the girls were sitting and we're talking about, just, cute ways to be proposed to. And I said, I don't know if it was me or somebody else, but if the other person said it, I was thinking that is cute. Because my good friend and I, we actually talk about proposals and everything. And she always talks about a serenade. And I was like, no, girl, you can't get proposed to like that because I want a serenade. So, yeah, if whoever it was, I think it might have been somebody else that said they think being serenaded is cute. And there was a sister. And then another sister responded with, she was like, that is so gay. And I'm sitting up like, well, how was that gay? She was like, because guys don't do that. And I'm just looking at her like, so gentlemen are really, you know what I mean? What do you want? A proposal over the phone? Not saying that's bad because actually Vanessa, can't remember her last name, but she was on Coming to America. Remember, she was the African woman that Eddie Murphy got hooked up with, but he was like, she just does whatever I tell her to do and I don't like that. It was her. Her husband now actually proposed to her over the phone. Their story is cute though. So yeah, anyway, we talk. So it's so funny that people still think like that. Like if a guy is like calling you to make sure you got home safe, and he's like if he drops you off and he's sitting in the car, he wants to make sure that you get in the house before he drives off. Oh, that's gay, or that's not man. Like what are you talking about? I don't know. I think it was sweet. And when she said that he called her at 4 just to make sure she was good, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's chivalry. Like I said, is not dead, but people are just giving up because they're like, listen, if I like this guy and he's not chivalrous, I'ma just chance it. No, 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 sisters, no. Okay, so yeah. And she was like, this guy's cute, he's funny. She was like, something's got, and she was like, he's a black man, which she was like, she always wanted to be with a black man. And she was like, something must be wrong. Something must be really wrong. And she couldn't accept the fact that it was perfect. And then we had this other couple, Tony and Vanessa. He admitted to being actually a little bit of a playboy even when they first, like when they were dating. He was kind of playing the field a little bit, and she honestly said that she knew that, but she wasn't dealing with it. Like at the same time of her knowing about it, she said she would say to him, listen, if you are ready to play the field and you feel like you can't be committed, she said, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be upset with you. Let's just cut ties right now because I'm not doing it. Because he was actually honest with her to say, listen, I got to tell you this. I'm on and off with somebody currently right now. And she asked him, she goes, well, what are you right now? He goes, I'm off with her. And she goes, well, listen, I think that you're a really nice guy and you're cool. She's like, but I'm not dealing with that. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do you and all that. And he said he wasn't used to that because he was the type of guy who, if he wanted a woman, he had her. And he said he was thinking, if I want 2 women, I can have them. So he was like, that's what was different about her. She wasn't going for the BS, which is how sisters do. She looked like she was actually Hispanic, which, okay, that's a sister. But what my thing is, claim that. Because sometimes you will even say to Hispanic, you have some African descent. And they're almost trying to deny it. Like, they don't want to be a sister. So I'm like, if you don't want the stamp, I'm not going to give it to you because it's really a privilege for anybody to be called a sister or a brother because that's symbolizing that bond that we have just by being black. You know what I mean? Not to be racist or anything, not downgrade nobody else. I'm just talking. So, yeah. So, it looked like she was a Hispanic woman. So, I'm calling her a sister. Or maybe she could have been mixed. Not saying it matters. I'm just saying the show is called Black Love. So, yeah. He said he wasn't used to a woman being so tough and staking her claim and being like, I'm not dealing with this. So this was just I loved it. And I knew it was a show I wanted to watch. And I was like, I bet you I'm not even going to get around to watching it. And I was like, you know what? No, I got a few hours before I go to work. Let me check this out. And it was fantastic. It was really, and what I really loved about it was black people. These are successful black people. And I also love that they portrayed it like that. And they were talking about their lives before they met each other. And they were very established. They had, they're in their careers. And they're at that point in their life where, okay, now I could be in a relationship. So it was sort of that, well, we have it together, but there's something missing from my life. So I really appreciated how it wasn't, I mean, obviously, Cory and Tia are sort of because he admitted that he actually wasn't financially stable when him and Tia first met and everything like that. But their story is cute because they were growing together. And as a man, he said he didn't have a father figure around. So, but he was still doing his own thing, getting his own money once he was, younger. So he was doing what he was doing, trying to come up and trying to be a man because, not growing up with one in the house. So I like them. But these were successful black people talking about they had it. They were established, they traveled around the world. Something is missing. So I really liked how they had went out and got it first. They got their careers. They had their money. Now, let me find the love of my entire life. And that was, and Megan Good, like I said, I didn't know she was married to her brother. I don't think I knew Megan Good was married. They've been married for about 4 years too. I didn't know. They actually said they ended up meeting actually before, you guys know Jump in the Broom. They met before that in like a general meeting because he's actually an executive with Columbia Pictures. So I said, okay, y'all both got money. You know what I'm saying? That works. I'm not saying it's a problem when one person has money and the other person doesn't. That's fine. I'm saying I think it's a little bit more of a balance if both people have money. That's just kind of my personal opinion, because you're never worrying about are they using me for my money. Not if you really love somebody, you wouldn't be worried about that either way. But sometimes it comes up like, are you sure he ain't using, you know what I mean, or vice versa. So when he said he was an executive with Columbia Pictures, I said, go ahead, Megan, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? We glad they both breadwinning. So yeah, he was actually an executive with Columbia Pictures, and they had this meeting, and he was like, that's Megan Good. He was cool with it because he met, a lot of celebrities. So that's kind of his job as an executive. So he was like, that's Megan Good. He always knew she was beautiful, but he was like, it wasn't going to happen. And he was chill about it because he's been around other celebrities. So he was like, actually, it wasn't until on set of Jumping the Broom, she was like, the cast was out for dinner or something, and her and him started talking, and he found out that she grew up in the church. He grew up in the church. So they both kind of found that common bond, because he never, he hadn't realized that she was so into the church. And he was like, but still, I was just kind of like, that's Megan Good. Nothing is going to happen. She goes, and then later on, they actually did get very serious. And I think this was Think Like a Man 1. She said they were filming Think Like a Man 1, and they had about 15, 20 minutes. Both of them had 15, 20 minutes in between scenes. So they're okay, well, let's meet, like, at the trailer or whatever, because I want to see you. That first, like, you're in love, you need to see each other, like, every 10 minutes. Oh, my gosh, I hope that does not happen to me, because I will kill my fiance, husband, all of it. Like, give me some room. Okay, I love you, but peace. All right. So anyway, they ended up meeting. And he was like, would it be crazy if... And she said at this point she knew he was in love with him. They'd been dating for like 3 months, and she knew, like, this is it. And by the way, I want to go back and say, I love when people say, like, stories where they really said they felt something. Because she actually mentioned... I just love this show, you guys. And I hope this review doesn't go, like, too long. It's really... Yeah, because I'm not really recapping. I'm reviewing it. I'm recapping and reviewing, I guess. But, she had actually said that on set of Jumping the Broom, there was another guy who was trying to flirt with her, and she wasn't giving him the time of day. But he kept trying, so she was like, oh no, actually, like, I'm with my husband. And Devon is the guy she's married to now. I believe that's his name. Strike me if I'm wrong. And she was like, I'm here with my husband. You know how you do that? Oh, I have a boyfriend, and all, So at that time, they weren't even together. She just kind of was like, oh yeah, I'm here with my husband, trying to get that guy to leave her alone. She said, and something felt right about it. Like, I almost knew this man was meant to be my husband. I love stories like that. Like, when they're like, it happened in a moment, and I felt it. Like, I knew right then and there that this was the man I'm supposed to be married to. So yeah. And so anyway, they met at the trailer, and he's like, I need to tell you something. And she's like, what is it? And like I said, she knew at this point she was in love with him, even though it had only been 3 months. And so he's like, would it be crazy if... And she's like, what? He was like, no, I can't talk about it. She's like, no, come on, what is it? He's like, would it be crazy if, like, maybe... And she finished the sentence for him, and she goes, like, you love me? And he was like, yeah, is that crazy? And she was like, no, because I love you too. It was just so sweet. And like I said, 2 black people in, the heights of their careers, other people would have said they had it all. But they realized, in having all of that, they were still missing something, and they found each other. And they honestly say, we make each other better people every day. Like, that is what I'm talking about. Like, because for me, I often get criticized because people are like, you don't want to find love and all that. And I never say that. I just say it's not at the top of my list right now, because I'm not really where I want to be. I'm at a point where I got my first job, my first car, and I'm loving the individuality in that and being me. Without having to bring somebody else in, because I'm not all the way to get. I'm starting college next week, you guys, on Tuesday. So I'm gonna be missing more episodes that it has, probably because I have classes every Tuesday. I have classes every day of the week except Friday, but I'm also gonna be working. So this is my first year of college. This is my first car. This is my first job. So I'm really sitting in it right now, because people will say to me, you're at the time I was 17, because I actually just turned 18 on, I don't even remember, Friday. I turned 18 on Friday. And, people, my friends are like, Jada, you said, when you hit adulthood, you'd be open to courting and all that, because they know I don't do the dating thing, it's courting. And, they're like, so now what? Like, you're 18 and all. And I'm like, I'm just not doing it right now, because for them, 18 is adulthood. I'm not saying 18 isn't adulthood. I'm saying for me, for finding love, and I don't put a time on it. I just think that I do know that I want to be established. I do know that I want to be either in sitting in my career, or I can actively pursue that career because I've done the schooling. I'm at a point where I feel like I can handle this, and I'm financially stable. Financially stable, of course. And people are looking at me like, but don't you want to grow with somebody? If you look at it like that, then you've already grown by yourself, and what do you need them for? That's the whole entire point. I have all of this. I have my career. I already, I get to see my mom. I love my mom. Like, my mom is my everything. And my sister and my dad, even though sometimes we be getting into it. You do have your immediate family. You're close with them, and then, you got your house and everything, and you're financially stable. And it's like, with me having all of that, I now say I could still say something is missing. Because I'm not saying that if you're broke, it's like having love can cheer it up. I'm saying that you really know that you must love this person because you have all of it. You have everything. Or so it seems, at least. That's how it would seem to other people. If you, for other people, if you have money, what else do you need? So, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say that's true because it's not. But that's how other people look at it. So they're like, well, if you already have all that, you're set. But no, for me, I will think about, well, I have all this, but something is missing from it. It's love. It's my husband. Like, I feel like there has to be, I feel like I'm missing my other half. I feel like I'm missing something. You know what I mean? So for them to be so established and at points where they probably really didn't need each other because they were so established, they wanted each other. And now they will say they need each other because they make each other better people every day. And I just think that's so sweet to have something to build on. So, and when people say grow together, I always have to remind them that you are still doing growing as a married couple, as people in a relationship, because we haven't been in a relationship our entire lives. We still have to do growing together, and we still have to adjust to each other and all that because we're two totally different people. And Tia actually had said, when Cory and her got together, they had to realize that these are two different people who love each other, but they grew up in two totally different households. So what she was saying, she had more structure because both of her parents were in the military. So she was like, everything is structured and we have it at this time. And he said he grew up in a household where structure was kind of everywhere. So, and they had to learn to sort of adjust. She said she had to learn to be more chill. And he had to learn, okay, I do need to step some things up and get it going because that's just how they make each other better people. And they complement each other. And I just think that that's so important. I think that that's so important. That when people are talking about growing together, it shouldn't just mean literally. They're talking about, well, if you meet somebody and you're like in your 30s or something, like you're already grown. Like, you're looking at it from a literal sense. And some people still have growing to do literally at 30. So, like, I'm over that. And it's all this, well, if you don't meet, the love of your life in college or in high school even, you guys aren't going to have a lot of growing to do. And if you already have your career and everything, don't you want to build that together? No. I would like for him to have his career and for me to have mine, and we grow together as people. And, and maybe our careers get better and better over the years, but we're together. I don't feel bad, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing even to when you two are both in your majors and you both know what you want to do and all that. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying for me, I look at it a little bit different. So, that's when people will say to me, well, you just don't want to find love. And it's not really about that to me. It's just about, well, if it happens, it happens. And, if that guy's out there somewhere, he's out there somewhere. But I'm not going to rush it because there's a lot of things that I need to work on as a person before I bring somebody else in. And a lot of people fail to realize that. And, when you bring somebody else in and you're not ready, you want to grow together. That's the hope, is that they're going to deal with your BS until, whenever. But some people are just like, no, witch, you're too freaking much for me. You need to deal with you. And they leave you to the side. Because they didn't love you as much as you thought they did. Or you really need to work on yourself because they did love you, but you're unbearable. So there are certain things I need to work on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting married tomorrow. I can't. Because I'm in that space of, there's so many things that I need to do before I feel like I'm ready for marriage, that it's just, I'm not open to it right now. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, you know, they take that any kind of way they want. But like I'm saying, I love that it was black. I'm sorry to say that, y'all. I'm not sorry to say it, but I know certain people might feel a way about it. I just love that it was black love. Which actually brings me to another point. Now, there was a sister named Ashley, and she's married to Chea. They've been married a year. He is not black. That's not a problem, but I just want to point out something that she said. She was actually saying and admitted she's always been that hip hop, rap tomboy girl. So she said she expected to be married to a brown skinned dude with locks. And, she was like, she thought it was going to be Brown Sugar. They reciting rap lyrics back to back to back. And she said actually, meeting a white man and feeling like she liked him, she was kind of like, but where are we really going to connect? She was like, because I love music. And she was like, that's actually how we connected. He's actually, he manages rap groups. And so he's big into music as well. She was like, so where I was worried about connecting, I was she felt like she was being closed off. She was like, and she realized she had to kind of, I guess, put okay, yeah, I want to be with a brown skinned brother, but, I can't pass up this good soul because he's not packaged the way I wanted to. So I took that as interesting, and I had a lot of respect for it, And they do seem to be really in love. Nice, they're a nice looking couple. Very nice, very nice. They're in their first year of marriage, so they're obviously in a honeymoon stage, But I like them. I'm rooting for them. Obviously, like I'm rooting for Tia and Cory, but they making it. Like I'm not even Viola and Julius and Megan and Devon. So I really like the stories on the show. Next week it's gonna be Shawnice and Flex. And then we're gonna have some of the couples from this episode are actually gonna be reappearing in the next episode. So I just think that this show is great. I think it's a phenomenon, and I think it is a masterpiece. Actually, the couple that is directing and producing the show, I believe Tommy and Cody Oliver. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty good with names. But like I said, don't quote me because I don't know. They actually, when the show starts off, they actually talk about they got engaged after 6 months. And they're actually a month away. They've been married for like a year, and now they're a month away from having their first child. They was like, they moved very quickly, but they've always knew that they loved each other. And it's a black couple. And, they say that they're both filmmakers, and they say they've been filming, married black couples pretty much since their relationship began. So they had this idea to come in with this show, and I think that it is fantastic. I think it is a great show. I'm gonna try and keep up with it. I'm gonna try to keep reviewing, because I know you guys are like, how you gonna bring a new show to your roster and you missed like 2 weeks and a half nights? Listen, I'm gonna try, but if you guys have not watched the show, it is fantastic. It is black love, and I love it. And also, I want to say with Sean and Onika, which is his wife, she was talking about, actually she thought he was actually pretty rude when they first met, because he was on the phone when his friend actually introduced him to her, but he wasn't paying attention to her because he was on the phone. So that was her first impression of him, was that he was rude. But she said she knew he was the one, because at this time they were dating. And she said she was actually in the bathroom, and she was like, it was embarrassing. She was singing, getting to know you, getting to like, she's singing that. And then she's like, she can't sing for anything, but she loves musicals. And she said, and all of a sudden she hears this big voice, getting to know you, and it was him. And she was like, that's when she knew, like, that was it right there. Like, that's my man. Because she was like, they had that bond where she was like, we could be sitting on the couch listening to Biggie and Tupac, and all of a sudden we could just switch to My Fair Lady or whatever. And they just have it. Like I love that. And also with the Tony and Vanessa couple, he was actually saying that at the time where her and him took that break, because she was like, I'm not going to be dealing with you being on and off. And, he actually goes, well, he's like, wait a minute, which one of us said I love you first? And she was like, it was actually me. When I told you that, I can't deal with you having two different situations. She was like, because I've been there and I've done that. She was like, and yes, I love you, but I have to let you go. She goes, and she was crying hysterically. And he was like, she was like, so we didn't talk or anything for like 2 months. And he was like, it was strange because, from the first time I saw her, I knew that she was the one. But he was like, he was denying it. And he was like, actually, his favorite movie is The Godfather. And he was saying when Michael Corleone killed McCluskey, and he had to go back to Italy, he was like, there was a moment when when Michael sees Apollonia, and the guy goes, he's been struck by the lightning or something like that. I've seen that movie. I can't remember. I don't remember that line. I remember that line, but I don't remember it quote like verbatim. It was something like he said that too. It was like he'd been struck by the thunderbolt, something like that. He was like, at that moment, like I felt like that. He was like, because when I saw her, he was like, I go, she's the one. But he said of course he did everything to try and deny it. He's like, no, it's too soon. I'm not ready to stop playing the field. And he's like, but obviously it was inevitable because she's my wife today. So, and I love stories like that. Like, that's how I knew. That's what happened. And then also, this was, okay, Erica and Warren. Warren was a playboy, and he actually admitted that he had never had like a serious girlfriend before her. He's like, I never even had a girlfriend. Like, she was my first girlfriend. And she was like, all them girls gonna be mad at you for saying that. He was like, well, that's not my problem because I didn't do girlfriends before I met you. Like, I had friends that were girls, but they weren't my girlfriends. And she was like, all right. And he was saying that he was very immature when he met her. And he didn't mean like in having his life together. He said his life was together, but mentally he wasn't. He goes, by the time he's 19 or 20 years old, he's like, he'd already traveled around the world, 3-4 times. So, but he was like, he was meeting women that just, he didn't feel were mature enough for his immaturity. And he goes, he met her and she was a woman who was telling me, I'm not going to deal with this and that's got to go. And, they're married. And he goes, I never even told the girl that I loved her before her. And she goes, what's funny about that is I actually ended up telling him that I loved him first. And she was like, she had that thought of, well, what if I say it and he doesn't say it back? But she was like, in that moment, I had to tell him because that's just how I felt. And she goes, were you scared when I told you? And he's like, no. Like, I said it back. She was like, oh, really? Because I don't remember that. And actually, I want to go back and say something that flew out at me. He was actually telling the first time that she said, I love you. And he was like, I was actually in the studio that day that you came and told me you love, because he's in music. And he was like, I was actually distracted. I was in the studio. She was like, and I loved watching you work. Like, I was just like, oh my good, like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, well, dang. She was like, and how she said it. She was like, I loved watching you work. Like, that's a sister that's standing behind a brother. Okay, when he's doing right. Which I'd say is a good amount, a good portion of the time. Good portion. Okay, now some of y'all, never mind. But I love this show. I think Black Love is a hit on and off the television screen. Okay, don't get mad at me if you are. It is what it is. Okay, I'm sorry. But that's how a Black Love is a hit on and off the screen because it is just so real that you cannot buy it. And it is just so, like, this is two black people in love. And I actually appreciated that Viola said, she said about 3 weeks before she actually met Julius, she was at some film festival. And she said she prayed to God. She was like, I want a black man, ex-football player, kids, like has kids already, born in the South, older than me. And she met Julius. So for me, what had marked it was that she said she wanted a black man. Now, because, and it's not a problem if she did or she didn't. What the thing is, I say that I loved it, that she said it. Okay? Because it's so frowned upon when you say, as a sister, like I don't talk about it because people just, I just feel like it's stay on your lane, because you're gonna try and twist up what I'm saying anyway. But oftentimes when you say and you specify as a black person that you are interested in dating only another black person, people kind of look at you like, oh, well, you racist. No, it's a preference, and it is what it is. I'm not even gonna get into it all like that, because I could really go on. It's a preference, and it's the only preference. Okay, let me stop. So, and I say that because, no offense, but if somebody Caucasian says, I only like white guys, nobody really says anything about that. I mean, I certainly don't, because I ain't got no problem with it. Okay, cool. I don't have to worry about you dipping into the cookie jar. Like, why would that upset me? I don't get it. And plus, first of all, it's your life. It is your business if that's what you choose to do. I ain't gonna do nothing but have respect for it, as long as you're respectful when you're reciting it. So, I don't know why people get so upset about that. But anyway, no offense to anybody, but I love this show. Like I said, I think Black Love is a hit on and off the screen. It is just so real. And when you see it, you are just like, yes. Okay, like, I love the show. I love it. Okay, I love it. Watch it. If you guys have not watched the show, you have not lived yet. You need to watch the show, okay? And I didn't mean for this to run so long, but I will try to come with my Haves and Have Nots review. But I really wanted to get this Black Love review out because it's Black Love, and it could not wait. I love this show. I absolutely love it. Please watch it. Please watch it. Please comment. Please let me know what you're thinking about it. I love it. Tommy and Cody Oliver, I hope I'm saying their names right. Come on. This is it. So, alright. Once again, I'm sorry for being late with this review, because technically I should have had it out yesterday. Also, sorry late about the Haves and Have Nots review. I think there's only 2 more episodes left to the finale, but let me know, you guys, what you think of this show. Also, maybe leave some comments about the Haves and the Have Nots, because I technically haven't watched the episode, but I will talk about it. Okay, so it is the one and only your girl, Jay. Oh, check out the Jedi, because he's been MIA too, but with the Haves and Have Nots videos, but he also did release his YouTube suppressing black channels. Have not gotten around to watching it yet, but check that out as well. Also, check out his Haves and Have Nots review, because he's been MIA with those, and he's back. He's been MIA just like me, but he back at it again. So, alright, check him out. Like I said, it's the one and only your girl, Jada J. Y'all know what it is. I gotta go to work tomorrow. Peace.